welcome back in to another round of Astros Recap Postseason edition. David Artis back at it again here as baseball has become exciting once again. We'll talk about games 1 and game 2. Both games here for the Astros and the ALDS. Obviously, hold the 2-0 series lead. That's sort of what you expect, or at least hope to do, as you play your first two games at home. So if you go, we'll talk about a lot of things here. I could have spent 30 minutes breaking down game 1, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to break down both these games. I will break down game 1, but try not to give you too much. Two games to talk about, though. And then we'll talk, sort of set the stage as we go forward here. Also give you a short update on the other teams and the series going on. But yeah, Astros off today. It is 5:36 p.m. It is Friday, so it's officially evening time. I meant to do this earlier. Thought about doing this possibly on the off day on Wednesday because there was so much to talk about after game 1, but I held off, and I'm here now. The Astros obviously have scheduled games the next 3 days if the Mariners can extend the series, so we'll wait and see there. But yeah. So one thing I feared as we actually jump into the games here for game 1. So one thing I did fear, I don't think I really hit on this when I talked to you last, but obviously the Astros with a long layoff of 5 days, which isn't necessarily good. It can be good in a sense, but when you play 162 games and basically 180, 90-day span, to take that 5 days off is kind of not such a great thing. And I think that hurt the Astros early on, as Verlander was not good. I know two ways about it. From the start, basically, you just could tell that his fastball command, he was missing up in the zone. A lot of hard hit balls by Seattle. They jump on the board early, first inning. First inning actually only allowed one run. Could have been a lot worse, as I'm going to have to look at this here. But only one run allowed in the first, and that felt fortunate at the time. But yeah, you had you had Seattle coming in, obviously hot, winning the short 3-game series, 2-0 over the Blue Jays. So they were riding sort of a hot streak, feeling good. And the Astros were just sitting, waiting for their opponent, basically. So, yes, it was sort of the tale of two teams. One hot coming in and one with a long layoff. So it feared me that the Astros might come in a little rusty, sort of trying to get them feet, under themselves. And you had the Rays coming in, obviously, on a hot streak. So, yes, that concerned me a little. I don't think I really touched on that, but that was certainly... I'll look for something here. I just lost it. I'm just going to let it go. All right. Forget it. All right. Yeah, forget it. But, yeah, Astros, yeah. So that's sort of what happened. I mean, one run in the first, 3 more in the second. You look up, and right at the gates, it's 4-0, and they have a big lead. And I didn't feel like we were out of it, but I felt like the offense needed to get going. There's talks about Verlander coming out after 1 or 2 innings because he clearly didn't have it, and all of his pitches in the zone were being hit and hit hard. But Seattle came out basically picking up right where they left off, and the Astros just trying to find it basically. So, but yeah. So we're down early. Obviously, Yordan Alavarez says the RBI double off the wall. It scores 2 runs, so that was good to sort of get him back in the game, sort of get him going. Verlander still struggled, so 1 in the first, 3 in the second. Actually had a scoreless third. We scored our 2 runs, but gave up 2 more in the fourth. So as you draw closer, 4-2, he gives up 2 more runs, and it's now 6-2. Gurriel hits a home run in the bottom half of the fourth to make it 6-3. Scoreless for a few innings there. Verlander's finally out of the game. But he wasn't good. 4 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's about as bad as I've seen Verlander all year. I can't think of another start. He's had some not good starts this year, but nothing like that. That was pretty bad. So yeah, 4 innings. He just didn't have it basically. In fact, it's kind of amazing he got through 4. But the bullpen came in, kept things close. Abreu, obviously, he got 5 outs, giving up a hit, striking out 3, but he was good. Javier actually gave up the 1 earned run. That was a home run to Eugenio Suarez, I believe. Suarez. Yeah. But Javier got 4 outs out of the bullpen. So question asked and answered. Um, 2 strikeouts. But yeah, the home run he gave it to Suarez. Hunter Brown got an inning, and so did Rafael Montero. So the bullpen did good, aside from the 1 home run Javier gave up, but keeping things close, giving our offense a chance. But really, the game started swinging there. So after, Suarez hit the home run in the 7th, that made the score 7-3. 7-3. So down 4 runs going into the 8th. We talked about Munez a little bit. Is that his name? Munoz? Might be saying it wrong, but that guy that throws 100 plus for the Mariners, Andres Munoz, comes in the 8th inning. Bregman, the big 2-run home run to cut it to 2. And then the 9th inning, big at-bats. Before I actually get to the 9th inning, talk about the roster real quick. So the roster was released right before the game started, basically, on Tuesday. And they did not go 13-13, like 13 pitchers, 13 position players like I thought. They actually elected to go with an extra position player and leave a pitcher off. Now, the pitching side of things, a little easier because Phil Maton, which I was not aware of, punched his locker after the final game on Wednesday because he was upset with his outing. Basically broke his hand, fractured some bone in his hand, and he's out for the rest of the year. So Maton, a guy I would have had on the postseason roster, is now no longer there. One less pitcher already to begin with, but Will Smith didn't make it either. So the 2 starters, Urquidy and Garcia, both made the team for the bullpen. Everybody else I named. But extra position player now, so David Hensley, a guy I did not have making it, is on the team. So yeah, that was sort of my only thing. But the reason I bring that up is because Hensley, off the bench in the 9th, works a very good at-bat. He's hit by a pitch. It was a 3-2 count, so he was a ball 4. Hit his jersey, so he was fine. But he gets to first base, which was big because obviously you're down 2 runs. Paul Sewald, who's sort of their closer, they sort of go committee in the closer role with Munoz or Sewald there, but it was Sewald in this at this point in the 9th inning here. But I sort of want to go play-by-play here in this 9th inning, so I'm going to make sure I'm not leaving anything out here. So yeah, you get Vasquez, who had come in pinch hitting for, he actually pinch hit the last go around for Martin Maldonado, but he grounded out. Then Hensley comes in to pinch hit for Dubon, who was also brought in later. But Hensley got hit by the pitch, so runner on first, 1 out. Altuve comes up, a guy that's been a big postseason bat for him. Been very good in the postseason, but he strikes out. So 2 outs, 1 on. When Altuve's up, Alvarez, you're trying to get to Alvarez. This is basically the goal here. So Pena hitting second. Big base hit for him up the middle. So that puts runners at first and second for setting the table for Alvarez now. Seattle Mariners can second guess this all they want, but they go to Robbie Ray to set up a lefty on lefty matchup. But if you know Yordan Alavarez, or if you look analytical and you look at the numbers, he doesn't struggle against lefties. It really doesn't faze him a whole lot. So you bring out your closer, Paul Sewald, and you bring in Robbie Ray, who's a starter all year, to get 1 out, to get Alvarez, and it didn't happen. Obviously, Alvarez, the big home run, a walk-off 3-run shot, and what looked like a game that was in Seattle's hands the entire way, it played out no more perfect way for Seattle in Game 1. But the Astros walk off the field winners with the big Yordan Alavarez 3-run shot to win the game 8-7. Verlander obviously was not good. Something to keep an eye on his next outing, which will be Game 4. If Seattle wins Game 3, he will start Game 4, and that would be on 4 days rest, so his usual routine. But I think the early rust, the Astros were able to knock it off. But for Seattle, that was just soul crushing for them. After winning, back-to-back games in Toronto, moving on basically. You had the big comeback when you were down it was 7 or 8 to 1. I think it was 8 to 1. They came all the way back in the Saturday game to come back and win. And then to get your few days off to rest and then come in, still riding your high as the Astros, as I mentioned, waiting 5 days. But the game got off to the start that you feared with Verlander not being as sharp. Hadn't pitched in a week basically, had like 6 days off. And, But the Astros knocked off the rust early. Keeping things close was important. I mean, they never let, the lead sort of balloon to 5 or 6, which probably would have put us away. But we were able to keep it close. And the big swings, obviously, the Bregman 2-run shot off Munoz. And, obviously David Hensley working the key walk, the base hit by Pena, and then the Alvarez big home run to win it 8-7. So that was a fun way to that's playoff baseball for you, at least for the Astros standpoint. Managers probably didn't care for it too much, but that was a hard game to top. Off day Wednesday. Thursday, obviously they win again. This was more of a close game. Framber Valdez went out there first 3 innings, so he looked great. First 3 innings he did. Obviously, the Astros facing Castillo, their ace, the Seattle Mariners ace here. And Game 1 was important because of that specific factor, for me at least. If we went down 0-1, which it looked like we were for the longest time in Game 1, if you go down 0-1 and now you got to face the ace of the Mariners, that doesn't bode well. These road teams that start the playoffs on the road with the 5-game sets usually just try to steal one. If they can get the series back home at 1-1, they usually take the upper hand. So, But we scored early as Tucker hit a moonshot home run. When I say moonshot, it was like a fly ball that was in the air for like 10 seconds. Landed in the 4th or 5th row in right field. But that got us on the board. Framber ran into some trouble in the 4th inning as he walked a batter on what was no question a ball. It was close, but it was clearly a ball. Valdez had this big reaction after he didn't get the call, and he sort of, Maldonado put his hands up like, calm down, that wasn't a ball. But I don't know if that messed with Framber a little bit, but he walked the batter there, a double down the line, put runners at second and third, 1 out. The little chopper out in front down the third base line, Framber gets 2. He has time to get the run at home, as it looked like, but he sort of spun around, threw it sort of wildly. It got past Maldonado, that run scored. And then you had, I think this was Santana who actually hit the ball. Favorable bounce off the backstop after the bad throw, right back to Maldonado. Santana was on his way halfway to second, so he throws it over there. You got him in a rundown. Of course, you got the other guy at third, so you're keeping an eye, hoping he doesn't try to scamper home. So he didn't. And the Astros get Nelson Cruz out in the rundown. Of course, the next hitter, Dylan Moore, I believe it was, hits a single to right field to score their second run. So now the Astros are down 2-1. So, but that was just a crazy sort of inning for the Astros. I don't think Framber made the wrong play trying to go home, but he had another second. If he had just set his feet, made a good throw, they'd probably still get the out because whoever it was that scored the run did not get a good jump off third on the old chopper close to the pitcher down the third base line there. So, but yeah, 2 runs for Seattle. So some people had the mindset of the Astros after the way they won their game on Tuesday that they were going to just crush the Mariners' soul. But they came out Thursday and Castillo was good. Aside from the home run, we'll talk more about this in a second. But scoring their 2 runs, it didn't let Seattle was rattled too much. I think the Wednesday day off did them good to sort of flush game 1. We're down 0-1, but sort of, get the time to sort of bounce back and sort of just, So I think they were fine. They didn't look rattled. They looked like they were ready to go. But yeah, now the Astros were down 2-1, and here we go as we get into the late innings, 6th inning. And Yordan Alavarez does it again. 2-run shot going the other way this time into the Crawford boxes, and the Astros take the lead 3-2. So Alvarez, obviously, big bat so far in our lineup. That was off Castillo, so Castillo's line in this outing actually gave up three earned runs in 7 innings. He got through 7. He threw 104 pitches, but they rode him as long as he could go, basically. He struck out 7, didn't walk anybody, but he gave the 2 home runs, the 1 to Tucker and the big blow to Alvarez there. But, I mean, for Castillo, that's the most runs I've seen him give up all year. Now, I haven't kept up with him or Mariners baseball all year, but I mean, Castillo's their guy. So, and then the Astros get a key insurance run in the 8th inning. Get a runner on first, 2 outs. Alvarez is up, and at this point, the Mariners have seen enough of him. So Scott Service said walk him intentionally. And then you got Bregman after that, and Bregman came through with a big key hit going to the other way off Munoz again. Munoz was the pitcher. He hit the 2-run home run off in Game 1. But yeah, the pick up the big 4th run. Presley wasn't necessarily sharp as he came in. He got lucky on a double play. That was after he walked a guy, I think, to start the inning here in the 9th. If I get there. Yeah, he walked Adam Frazier, and then J.P. Crawford hit a line drive right to Gurriel. That was an easy double play. Then Julio Rodriguez hit the double, but you get Ty France strike out, and yeah, close it out. So, yeah, good to be up 2-0 in the ALDS. Funny stat, you might find this interesting. This was actually, I have to give credit to either Michael Conn or Ross Villarreal on the radio who brought this up. The Astros since 2017, where they've been in the playoffs every year, every ALDS has started with them winning games 1 and game 2. They've taken a 2-0 division series lead every year. I think 17, Boston, won the first 2 games there, ended up beating them in 4. 18, you swept the Cleveland Indians at the time, of course, Indians. You swept them. In 19, you took games 1 and 2 against Tampa Bay. You actually won that series in 5 because if you remember, you went to Tampa Bay, lost the 2 games there, came back home, won game 5. It was a scary series against Tampa Bay. And then in 2020, the COVID year, you won games 1 and 2 against Oakland and won that in 4. And then last year, against the White Sox, you won games 1 and 2 and also won that in 4. So every year since 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 6 years now, where the Astros have taken, 6 straight years, have taken a 2-0 division series lead. So, obviously, day off today, as I said. And then we start tomorrow, 3:07 start. So, we'll be in Seattle. I'm sure their crowd's going to be bumping. I know they're not going to be super thrilled down 0-2, but the crowd will be bumping, and they'll be excited to have playoff baseball in Seattle for the first time since 2001. So, but yeah, we'll have McCullers going. So questions answered. Javier's in the bullpen. I sort of suspected that. Wasn't a huge fan, but that's where they feel most comfortable using Javier. You'll have McCullers for Game 3, and then if Seattle forces a Game 4, you'll have Verlander on full rest. So that's that. And then I'm sure you go to Valdez after that. I think Valdez will be on... No, actually Valdez won't be. Be interesting. Hopefully the Astros can wrap this up before... hopefully tomorrow. McCullers pitches well. But yeah, you got to be feeling good if you're an Astros fan. Just to have the luxury. You're up 2-0. But again, you need one more big win, and hopefully that's coming off in Seattle. The Mariners will not use Robbie Ray, I feel like, at all again in the series unless they absolutely have to. But Logan Gilbert was good for him in Game 1. Obviously, Castillo was good for him, but the bullpen failed him a little bit. Bullpen, especially in Game 1, failed him, but Castillo actually giving up the 3-run shot didn't help them a whole lot there. Yeah, in Game 2. So I'm trying to just fast forward to this real quick. But the Mariners will have George Kirby going in Game 3 here. 8-5, 3.39 ERA. Solid numbers. And then we'll see McCullers. McCullers had a good year. 4-2, 2.27 ERA. I can't complain with that. We'll see what he does tomorrow as the pressure's now finally on him. But we'll see. To sort of clean up Game 2 just a little bit, I want to go through the pitching for this real quick. Fromber did not get the win as he got taken out after going 5 2/3, ran into some trouble. Neris got a huge out to end that inning. I think there were runners on first and second. Fromber's final line was 5 2/3. 2 earned runs, struck out 6, walked 3. Wasn't terrible, but not amazing either. But Neris gets the big out to finish off the 6th inning. Abreu gets 2 outs in the 7th. Montero gets 4 outs. Wasn't particularly sharp as he walked 2 guys. And then Presley, we talked about him, shaky, but got the job done. So the only guy in the bullpen through 2 games, and they pitched a lot. I mean, you think about 3 2/3 there in Game 2 and 6 innings. So it's 5 innings. 5 innings in Game 1. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 2/3 innings. They've only given up 1 run, and that was the 1 home run to Eugenio Suarez off Javier. So bullpen not been perfect as they put some traffic on the bases, but overall have been able to not give up runs. So, but day off obviously today, and then we'll try to wrap things up tomorrow if we can. Quick update on other series for you. So, NLDS, those series are tied. Phillies are actually about to go up 2-1 as they are killing right now the Phillies 6-1. No, the Phillies are killing the Braves 6-1. So Phillies won Game 1, lost Game 2. Braves sort of had the same sort of issue we did, the 5 days off being rusty. But yeah, they lost Game 1. Braves tied it up in Game 2. And then the Phillies, after 6 innings, are up 6-1 here. So it looks like the Phillies will be in the driver's seat. Braves are going to be a lot of pressure on them here if they do indeed lose this game. So, and then the other Dodgers-Padres is tied at 1-1. Dodgers won Game 1. Padres won Game 2. They play later tonight, about an hour and a half from now. And then the Guardians-Yankees series, which after the Yankees won Game 1, Garrett Cole was very good, by the way. Game 2 is postponed, which was supposed to be yesterday. So they played early this afternoon. And the Guardians won this in extra innings 4-2. So we're the only series that has started 2-0, basically, as we enjoyed the day off. But the other series are interesting. Dodgers-Padres tied, Guardians-Yankees tied, and Phillies, the underdog here, is about to go up 2-1 on the Braves. So unless the Braves, start hitting the ball here, they got 9 outs to work with here. But that's where you wrap up there. Obviously, the Astros will play the winner if they win this series. Play the winner of the Guardians-Yankees, and I think I'd rather face the Yankees as would much of the world, but we still got one more game we got to get, so it's going to be important. I'll be at work. I'm gonna be at work the next 16 days or something like that. So yeah, I got a lot of work coming up for me. But I'm gonna miss like the first hour. I'll still be working a live show tomorrow. And then I'll be able to, hopefully I can finish things quickly so I can watch the majority of the game. I'll be on the TV. I probably won't have the sound on as I run a live show. It's not usually a good idea. So, But wrap things up there. 25 minutes coming up on here. So, yeah, anyway, next day I'll talk will either be tough. Probably looking at Monday because they don't have another off day. If the Seattle continues the series, it's 3 straight days. So it might be at the end of the series. So maybe Tuesday if we're looking at it. Monday, if the Astros wrap up the series, probably Monday. If they don't, it'll probably be Tuesday. But it won't be that 3-4 days you're looking at. So yeah, I do not want to have this series come back home. So the Astros got to try to win one of these next two, if they can do that, they'll be in good shape. So, but I'll wrap things up there. Obviously, I don't like the 2 off days we've already had. I just should have played Tuesday, Wednesday, off day Thursday, and then play Friday, Saturday, off day Sunday. I don't know why they mixed in an off day in between games 1 and game 2. That just didn't feel right, and I didn't like it at all. So, but yeah, be looking forward to it. Seattle's crowd's going to be loud. Astros shouldn't have too much trouble. They've played on the road all year. They've been booed all year, so they played New York earlier this year and split a 4-game set with that crowd being as bad as they are. So anyway, wrap things up there. We'll talk to you Monday or Tuesday.